This is part 26 of our Breath of the Wild video series. In this part, we're going to return to the Temple of Time to obtain another heart container by trading in a few of our spirit orbs. We're going to run into our first Zora of the game named Tula, who was ordered by Prince Sidon to find a Hylian. So she's going to order us to go find Prince Sidon at the Inogo Bridge, and then we're going to finish the part by exploring around a little bit and finding a Korok Seed. And I know that doesn't sound that exciting when there's 900 of them in the game, but in some of these parts, we don't do much, so finding a Korok Seed is exciting.
Well, I mean, early on in the game, I'm kind of like you. You really didn't find a lot. You found a lot more than I did, but I didn't find a lot at the beginning. You really didn't find a lot either, so in these beginning parts, we'll kind of like probably say that, hey, we found a Korok Seed in this part, but as we go through the game, we'll probably find more and more Korok Seeds. You won't really hear us talking about it or even like having it in the description of the video at all. But Red, I know
you'd be surprised. I don't find as many as you think I might find.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same way. I mean, I've done every single thing in the game but get all the Korok Seeds, and I end up only having like 150 Korok Seeds throughout the game, which actually kind of surprised me a little bit. Yeah, I never expected to get all 900 of them, but I definitely did expect to get like over 150, and I guess I just expected to find them, but there were some puzzles that went along. I just didn't know that those like produce Korok Seeds.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, there's just random boulders that they might be underneath. I was reading in a thread in a forum somewhere that there's like a wooden stick you can pick up somewhere that there's a Korok Seed underneath. I mean, they are just in some of the most obscure places sometimes. In a lot of cases, yeah, it's obvious. Like if there's a circle of rocks on top of a hill, there's probably something going on there. But sometimes it's not that obvious, and I honestly, I don't even think I'm at 150, to be honest. And I think I've explored. I haven't finished the game yet like you and done all the shrines and side quests and everything, but I've done and explored most of the area, and I'm with you. I'm not anywhere close to even a fraction of the total number of Korok Seeds.
Well, I guess we're going to start this part off talking about Korok Seeds, because I'll just keep on continuing it. Like, the thing with me was, like, I circled the map like 3 or 4 times, and I got to the point where I was almost sick and tired of the map, and so I was just really shocked by my number. Like, I guess I was expecting like around half of it, but kind of going back to the puzzles I was talking about and not knowing how to get a lot of them. I think there's a part, it's either part 28 or 29, whenever we go to Kakariko Village.
Yeah.
There's a Kakariko Seed, or Kakariko. There's a Korok Seed that you will get, and like I had no idea that like that's how you got that Korok Seed, or that's even there. And I kind of think we talked about it. I'm really surprised they didn't have like a Sheikah sensor like ability for the Korok Seeds in this game.
Well, are you able, later on in the game, you can oh wow, first of all, that goat just lined me up.
Yeah, he nailed you.
Nailed me.
That's a football stick right there.
That really was. I was just stuck in the backfield for no gain right there.
Yeah.
But I wonder if later on in the game we're able to upgrade our Sheikah sensor to let us like take a picture of something.
Yeah.
And then the Sheikah sensor will track that instead of the shrines. I'm wondering if you take a picture of a Korok floating in the air, like after you've found it, how they just kind of stand there or they float in the air. Will the Sheikah sensor actually lead you to more of the Koroks? Have you tried that?
Yeah, I actually have tried that. So the way it works is there's like the Hyrule Carpet. Is it Carpe Diem or not Carpe Diem? But what's it called? The Hyrule whatever, like the album that you like put stuff in.
Oh, the Compendium.
Carpe Diem, Compendium.
I was like, I have no idea what you're talking
about. I knew I had was the wrong word. I just didn't know what the right word was. But like those are the things that you can put on the Sheikah sensor. So like any picture that you can put in there, you can put on the sensor. I believe. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's how it works. You can actually not put the Korok Seeds in the Hyrule, whatever you just said.
Compendium.
Compendium. So I'm pretty sure it does not work that way because I tried it, and it doesn't go in that album to what allows you to apply it to the Sheikah sensor.
And I actually, now that I think about it, I remember reading in the first set of downloadable content, which they've kind of announced a little bit of here as we're doing this commentary. I believe there's going to be a mask, like a Korok mask or something. I now remember reading that's supposed to help you find the Korok Seeds. So I do think you're right that we cannot use the Sheikah sensor to find them, and that's why Nintendo is going to release a Korok mask to make it a little easier to find them. Now that we've talked about it, I remember reading that somewhere, so I think you're absolutely right there. on the you can't use the Sheikah sensor. But it would be interesting to see how the Korok mask works when the DLC comes out.
And also, like, they'll show up on your map if you, like, zoom in really close, but, like, that's the only time they show up on the map. Like, when you're zoomed out, they don't really show up, so you can't really get a good grasp of, like, where exactly they are on the map because you're so zoomed in. But anyways, kind of getting away from that, we'll kind of go ahead and talk about...
That was a long Korok Seed conversation.
Hell, we got a lot of parts we got to talk through, so there's no problem in talking about one particular thing too wrong. But this village right here, the Gopanga Village Ruins, like, just another new place right here that I'm hoping that maybe new to the Zelda franchise, and maybe this is kind of hinting at, like, if the next Zelda game or some games down the road take place after Breath of the Wild, maybe this is a new town we can kind of see in that game. But at the same time, it's kind of disappointing because it's one of those villages that we just see in ruins, and it kind of been cool to explore a new village.
I agree with you on that. It's just, and these ruins in general, I kept expecting them to have like some kind of treasure or an item or a weapon in them. It seems like most of them only have like a rusty claymore or a rusty sword. A lot of them are haunted by these whiz robes, so there's not anything to these ruins in terms of like a payoff for exploring them. So early on in the game, you'll see me explore a lot of them. Every now and then you'll find a treasure chest, maybe a Korok Seed, but there's really not a lot of benefit to even exploring these ruins that I found. So I'm with you. I wish they'd have been more like built up settlements, or even like a little camp of people, like just like 10 people or something. Just something more than just an abandoned ruin. But I like how you brought up that it's a like Gopongo town or whatever it was called. Is something
Village.
We've never seen. Yeah, Gopongo Village, thank you. Is something we've never seen in a Zelda game. So it makes you wonder, it's like, there was a village that we never got to explore that used to be here. It'd be nice to get some story on it.
I don't know the compendium, but I do know the name of this village right here. But like, it's kind of like we talked about, or I believe we talked about, there's already been like 25 parts. Yeah. Like, the disappointing thing in this game was, we had some villages, but just there was so much more potential, and I kind of understand like the story being told and like how everything's in ruins. Calamity Ganon just pretty much took over and just blew away almost everything in Hyrule, but there's just some, like, I just wanted more villages, especially Castletown, which we've not seen yet. We probably won't see till later on in the game, but Castletown had that potential to be like a huge city or a huge village, huge town, whatever you want to call it in the game, and it would just been so cool to explore. But when we do go there later on, like, there was just absolutely nothing there.
Well, another village that I thought had a little more potential was a Hatino village, which we'll make our way to a little bit later. They said it's a village that was basically untouched by the Calamity. Like, it was far enough out, like, towards the edge of Hyrule that it was basically untouched by the Calamity. So I thought maybe, in the 100 years while the rest of Hyrule was being recovered and repaired, like, Hatino would grow into a huge city, like something on the level of like Clocktown from Majora's Mask, or like Castletown in Twilight Princess. So I was a little disappointed that Hatino Village, which survived the Calamity, ended up not being a little bit more of a bigger and more fully developed city or town. So I was a little disappointed in that.
We've not been there yet. Actually, not been to Hatino either, but another village, and we kind of are getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. Lurlin Village. That's another one right there, which... I kind of understand, like, it's a little bit out of the way, like down in the southeast corner. But once again, that place also survived the Calamity Ganon. And, like, there was absolutely nobody there, but I guess it kind of just has that laid-back feeling. But that's a town I expected more population in. Really, overall, like, kind of going along with what you said with Hatino, I just expected all these towns to have more of a population because they are the towns that survived the Calamity Ganon.
Agreed. And just in general, kind of going back to something you mentioned about just some of the potential of this game world and how it was a little bit unrealized, I'm really hoping, because there are so many locations in this game that have almost nothing, maybe a shrine, maybe a couple Korok seeds, but they took the time to create this gigantic, beautiful world. And there are all these locations that just have a name, and a lot of the names relate to other Zelda games, which I think is kind of cool. But they have all these locations, and I'm really hoping the second set of downloadable content, or maybe more down the road, maybe adds a little bit more like missions or quests or something to these areas that we explore but don't really find anything, just to add a little bit more to this world they took so much time creating.
Kind of touch on that in the next part. We really don't have enough time in this part, but we kind of talk about, we just actually posted an article on our website about Majora's Mask DLC and what that could all do for this game. And like I said, we'll talk about it in the next part, but this wraps up part 26 of our Let's Play Breath of the Wild.